lost, there's always a hope. Rise and fight.
Hello and welcome everyone to another BSL 15. This is going to be day 4 of Asia Championships. We are finally in that Group D. We've got a couple special matchups here lined up to start the day off. I believe Series 1 is going to be XiaoShuai versus Jumper. Um, and then following that, it's going to be Mihu versus LCYDH. So yeah, you should be recognizing some of those names there. Jumper, kind of a foreign favorite from Thailand, was actually cast in with me yesterday. For those of you who were tuning in, he will be. He's a foreign Protoss player from Thailand. He'll be going up against XiaoShuai, who's a Zerg player from China. And then obviously at the other side of the bracket for today, we have Mihu, kind of regarded as the best player from China, going up against a Protoss player, LCYDH. Mihu, if you've been watching BSL the previous seasons, you know exactly who he is. Should be a force to be reckoned with in this bracket here today. Incredible Terran player. I think widely regarded even before his BSL competition streak here as the best player outside or inside China. I think even the other Chinese players call him Mihu the Great, so kind of a fun little thing there. But yeah, obviously first up we're going to be having XiaoShuai, Zerg player, going up against Jumper, that ZVP matchup here. So it looks like Jumper here just barely the elder. For those of you who follow Jumper, he's actually a fellow Red Clan member with myself here, so I'm kind of going to be cheering for him a little bit, but not going to be too biased. He's got a tough matchup ahead of him here against XiaoShuai, Chinese Zerg player. And yeah, I think going into game 1 here, they're going to be playing on the map Overwatch. This is a 2-player map. For those of you who've already been tuning into this series so far, probably getting a little more familiar with it. It's a pretty standard 2-player map, not too incredible of a distance to get from natural to natural here. Some of the kind of key factors are these 2 small bridges outside the naturals, which allow pushes to kind of be held quite easily, which makes it a little more unique. There's almost like a high ground patch outside of that 3rd base area, overlooking a mineral only 4th in the center, which is kind of a point of contention. But yeah, this has turned out to be quite an interesting map. Seems fairly balanced in just about all the matchups here. You can see 52% for that ZVP here. So really, not super favored one way or the other. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one. Like I said, I gotta be cheering for my boy Jumper going into this. But he, XiaoShuai, he has quite a few, results on his own in the Chinese scene. So by no means new to competing at a high level in this game. Well, it sounds like we are ready to go and get into game number 1 here. Jumper versus XiaoShuai on Overwatch. All right, folks, let's get to it. And spawning at the top left as that olive colored Zerg, we have XiaoShuai. And spawning at the bottom right as that red Protoss from Thailand, we have Jumper. So this is going to be an interesting one. 2-player map. I feel like on these 2-player maps for this matchup, you gotta expect that early scout after pylon at the natural as a Zerg player, so I wouldn't really expect to see anything too fancy from XiaoShuai. Probably just a 9-pool opener, an overpool opener, given that it is a 2-player map. Meanwhile, Jumper's got, a few more options in him here. We see him actually pulling that first probe back into the main. That's kind of indicative of a gate first opener, usually. So I'm expecting this 9 gate to go down here in a second at the natural for Jumper. And yes, this is going to be a 9 gate opener. Jumper opting to start the series with some heavy zealot pressure, most likely. I like seeing that. Meanwhile, XiaoShuai going for the 9 pool opener, doing that extractor trick to go ahead and get that extra 10th drone out, optimizing his mining, already showing, he has a full understanding of this matchup and exactly how he can get the most out of each of his workers and all of his supply. So this is great so far. Jumper going to scout it though, getting a little bit of harassment on that first drone of XiaoShuai. Looks like he's going to just harass, kind of prevent some of this mining here. Sees that it is a 9 pool though. I'm interested in seeing if maybe that's going to prevent him from maybe moving across the map and trying to get aggressive just based on this opener he has scouted. XiaoShuai though, happy to just deselect a single Zergling off and then send the other 5 towards Jumper's base. And yeah, Jumper not moving out with that first Zealot might be a smart play here. Doesn't want to allow any of these Zerglings to get inside the main, do some economic damage here early on. So I think this is actually a pretty good call on his part. Okay, Zerglings surrounding that first Zealot here, already starting to do a little bit of damage, burning off the shields, and oh no, that is not good. First Zealot getting surrounded here. There still is that other Zealot on the ramp, but it's unfortunately also not getting in too great of a position here. Probe being pulled, and yeah, this is already not looking super great here for Jumper. Really good control out of XiaoShuai, and a single Zergling still left alive here. Now, if Jumper does manage to hold, because he has opted to go with this probe first, Nexus first, he will be able to recover the economy a little better. So, even though it is quite risky, especially after losing the first 2 Zealots, if he does manage to get away with this, he should be in a good spot. XiaoShuai, however, still continuing Zergling production. At the same time, has that 3rd base already taken, but it's almost as if XiaoShuai smells blood in the water here. We're still seeing continual Zergling production. Zergling still inside the main as well, doing some harass. And as long as honestly Jumper's able to hold this and get this cannon up, XiaoShuai could be in some trouble here, but no, Zealot actually moving out and getting trapped. Good control here from XiaoShuai, eliminating that single Zealot, but it might have actually bought enough time for this wall to survive. And yes, it looks like Jumper is going to hold. So really good control there from Jumper. It seems like XiaoShuai has recognized that the game has stabilized. We're seeing non-stop drone production, trying to catch that worker lead up to Jumper's 17. Jumper actually at 18 to the 16 drones of XiaoShuai. That's kind of indicative that XiaoShuai doing very well. Usually Protoss would have a little more of a economic lead by this point. So XiaoShuai, I would say, has the edge going into this game number 1 here so far. Cannon is down, +1 armor actually being researched first here for Jumper. That is very not standard. Kinda interested why he would go armor. a little bit. I mean, maybe to negate +1 range attack early, but it's not very standard. Usually you see Protosses open that +1 attack so that Zealots can obviously two-shot Zerglings. So not certain what Jumper is going for here. We do see a small Zealot move out, 4 Zealots pushing across the map here, looking to get some good trades. And actually, I think this is going pretty well for Jumper. That is not the best spot for XiaoShuai to really engage, and that trade went fairly well here for Jumper. Look at that drone count though, already on the 3 bases here. 4th hatchery going up for XiaoShuai, and I believe he should have the rally he needs to defend these 4 Zealots. A 5th Zealot even splitting off and going to the 3rd here, so Jumper doing what he can to kind of get some multitasking and harass XiaoShuai's economy, but this is just so many Zerglings here. Jumper trying to distract as best he can, moves the Zealots into the main to try to get a good scout, and single Zealot once again going to that 3rd, will manage to get in the mineral line and at least force some drones to be pulled. And yep, all the drones being pulled from that 3rd base. Spire is up though, and Scourge are out for XiaoShuai. We have 2 cannons already in the main for Jumper, so definitely a little afraid of potential Muta play, it seems. First Corsair is out, going to the natural. And a couple more gateways being thrown down into the main. 2nd Forge as well. But XiaoShuai producing Mutalisks early on here. Looks like he does actually want to get a little bit of Muta harass in. Carapace being researched from the Spire as well. And it looks like, honestly, XiaoShuai just in a really solid position here so far. Doing some good economic damage early on with those initial lings, and it's kind of just starting to carry over. I don't believe we've seen a Evo Chamber or a Hydra Den yet, so this is a full Muta committal. Wow, more drones even going down. 6 hatcheries. I wonder if he'll end up taking a 3rd gas here in a second. That would be my guess. Okay, Evo Chamber and Hydra Den are going down, so XiaoShuai giving himself the possibility of a transition. And first Corsair going into the main, going to try to scout, but little does he know the Mutas are already moving across the map. These gateways look very exposed to this Muta control, and here we go. Mutas diving in, getting on top of that first cannon. Ooh, very good control, pulling the first Muta in order to maximize his damage here. And they do have a couple Templar moving into the main. Oh wow, very nice Storm though from Jumper. Maybe if he can get one more solid Storm here. And yeah, Muta count has been reduced to 3. That Corsair moving back into the main. But unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough to really deal with these 3 Muta. These 3 Muta being able to pick off a couple more Templar here, and already with some more economic damage done from Jumper, puts XiaoShuai in the lead as far as workers are concerned. So 6 hatchery, Hydraless transition from XiaoShuai. We see that +1 range attack being researched, and Hydraless are out in full force here. We also see a 4th going down actually from XiaoShuai as well. So you can tell he just feels as if he's in a very comfortable lead at the moment. Meanwhile, Jumper being forced to put down more and more cannons just to, potentially defend continual Mutalisk harassment. As we know, that is not going to be coming. This is Hydraless transition out of XiaoShuai. Second Forge, you know, will be researching that +2 range attack, or +2 armor though. So I wonder how +2 armor, you know, might fare here against this +1 range attack of XiaoShuai. It seems like at least, you know, that's the one advantage Jumper has here, is these upgrades. XiaoShuai looking to possibly even move in here and engage with these Hydralisks. And yes, remember, Jumper has Storm, so I don't know if I really like XiaoShuai just slamming into this wall here, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, it doesn't look as if XiaoShuai trying to move in. Ooh, does almost get a pick off though on that High Templar. The 2 armor actually saving it there. So those upgrades from Jumper are already starting to kick in. DT out on the map, scouting around for that 4th base, and we'll find it. Sees that it's already completed. Ooh, he's got an Overlord just following that DT around now, does recognize that it's there. Lurker aspect being researched here for XiaoShuai. And yeah, XiaoShuai just kind of scouting around the map, trying to do what he can to defend that DT roaming around the map. But at the same time, he's got Sunkens placed everywhere. I feel like there's not really a whole lot of entrances for that DT to get in and do significant damage. Jumper moving out now, clearing a hole in the wall. And here we go, first big storm coming out, Zealots and Archon Dragoon moving in. Second storm going down, good storms. Now we're starting to see the upgrades actually kick in a little bit here for Jumper. Kind of retreating to that cannon wall, trying to get the best trades he possibly can. But there's just so much Zerg streaming across the map here. And remember, Lurker aspect is complete now. Ooh, legs just now being researched. It's a little late, I'd say. And the Robo facility coming online. Jumper obviously realizing he's going to need to get to that observer tech in order to detect these lurkers here coming on. More and more Hydras just trailing across the map here. And yeah, now with this lurker contain, this is going to be quite difficult for Jumper to break out, but very good storm. Catches a couple Hydras and 3 of these lurkers and weakens them. But the Hydras, you know, there's just not much range here. We do have 5 Dragoons from Jumper, but I believe most of the storms have been used. There we go, final storm going in. And honestly, XiaoShuai just able to start running away with this. He's taking a 37 supply lead up against Jumper here, and he's just continually making those Hydralisks while slowly droning his 4th top right. He's got perfect vision of every single base on the map, and he's just continually poking in here with small groups of Hydralisks looking for Templar pickoffs. Ooh, big storm, 2 big storms. Legs is finished here for Jumper. Remember, he's got the upgrade advantage. But man, this is just so much Zerg. I don't know how you deal with this. Okay, first observer joining in here. And XiaoShuai just pushing in with so many Hydralisks. All the storm has been used. Observer just gets picked off. Ooh, there's one more storm. It's a good storm, actually. Very nicely done from Jumper. But man, this is just so many Hydralisks. The lurkers are just placed in really good positions, not too clumped, allowing any storms to kill off any too many lurkers here. But yeah, he's finally on top of the mineral line of Jumper, and significant damage has been dealt. Jumper just not able to really break out of this natural and secure a 3rd base. And XiaoShuai is just running away with it here. Wow. Very well done there from XiaoShuai. ends up taking game number 1 there on Overwatch in pretty convincing fashion. You know, it was a little unfortunate that the 9 pool ended up getting so much damage completed, but you know, that's how the game goes, especially on a 2-player map like Overwatch. You know exactly where your opponent's going to spawn. It's kind of the risk of doing that gateway first opener from Jumper. But with that, game number 2 should be Jumper's pick. So I'm kind of interested to see what type of map he'll pick. There is, you know, some fairly decent maps for Protoss in the map pool. I'd love to see something like a Longinus. But yeah, it's, you know, XiaoShuai taking that game number 1, going into game number 2 here shortly. It'll be Jumper's map pick. Should be kind of interesting. I don't know. XiaoShuai obviously showing he's very confident in the matchup. I really like the decision to open Muta, especially game number 1 on a map like that, and he was able to get some very significant damage done. It's kind of the risk of when you don't open those +1 Corsairs against a Zerg player. You know, it's a thing that a lot of Protoss used to do, but when you watch you know, the professional players in ASL level, they always go continual Corsair until they've guaranteed it is not going to be a Muta opener. So a little unfortunate there for Jumper, maybe trying to cut a corner and you know, get kind of a reward for doing so, but it didn't end up paying off this time. So obviously this is match number 1 here in the bracket. The winner of this series will be moving on to the winners finals. Jumper, you know, he's got the map selection here, so he's got to make the most of it. XiaoShuai is looking very, very solid. No major holes to speak of in his game. So I'm kind of interested to see how, you know, a game number 2 would go here. All right, and yes, it will be a Longinus selection here for game number 2. I think this is a great map for Protoss the longer the game goes. So I would expect a Zerg to try to either contain Jumper to that 2 base, you know, or even end it earlier than that. But it could be a little difficult to do. You know, the expos aren't exactly the smallest. There's plenty of positions for cannons, gateways inside the main, and you know, so it's not going to be too easy of a task here for XiaoShuai. But we'll have to see how this one goes. Looks like game number 2 is ready, so let's go ahead and get into game number 2. And spawning at that top left as the olive colored Protoss, we have Jumper. Oh, we'll be right back. We have some technical difficulties here. Alright, we're going to get right back into it here. This should be game number 2 of XiaoShuai versus Jumper, and the map selection once again is going to be Longinus. Oh, it's going to be Vermeer, actually. Vermeer will end up being the game number 2 choice. So, 4-player map, you know, I don't think it's necessarily bad for Protoss. Every single base has that gas, and here we go. So spawning at the bottom right of match number 2 as that blue Protoss, we have Jumper. And spawning at the bottom left as that green colored Zerg, we have XiaoShuai. So as I was saying, Vermeer 4-player map, interesting selection here from Jumper. I'm sure, you know, at least one thing's for sure is bases will be easier to take on this map versus the previous. I wonder if we'll see another gateway opener, if maybe Jumper would like to go for just some type of a forge opener. And it looks like, yes, it's going to be forge first here. You can tell that because the probe scouts immediately after producing that pylon. This will also once again be a 9-pool opener out of XiaoShuai. Ooh, maybe not. So probe moving back, puts down another gateway, so this will be a gateway opener, not deterred from the previous 9-pool opener. Zero, I don't think we have a game sound, by the way. And so is going to be put down here. You know, unfortunately, once again, this is a 9-pool opener versus gate first. If you were to poll most Protoss players, they'd say, you know, as far as order, you're not too happy seeing a 9-pool with a gate first opener. There's just too much maneuverability in Zerglings to allow, you know, Lings to get by, do some significant damage to your economy, and it's just really, really difficult for Protoss to kind of control early on. Whereas if you know, open gate first versus an overpool, I think Protoss players are quite happy about that. So, wow, very good control. And the hatchery will be allowed to go Zerg out and running towards the Protoss base. Actually, no, they're chasing the probe. XiaoShuai doesn't know exactly where Jumper is yet and thinks that he's cross-mapped for some reason. So Jumper, you know, getting finding a little bit of luck here should allow him plenty of time to go ahead, get this Nexus down at the natural, and wall off completely with a forge. 4 more Lings, though, do pick off that scouting probe at the natural. And 3rd hatchery is placed for XiaoShuai. So XiaoShuai doing everything he needs to do early on here. Forge is halfway complete. Lots of Zerglings running in here, but actually Jumper opting to move out with the Zealots and the probes. Getting on top of these Zerglings, doing some pretty good damage here so far, I'm not going to lie. But he's trying to just really buy some time for these cannons to potentially get up. Yeah, another Zealot going to be taken down here in a second. We do have a cannon in production though. XiaoShuai going to be allowed to do a little bit of damage to this wall. But we already see XiaoShuai droning from the main and the natural here. So this is not very heavy committed from XiaoShuai. Taking the gas inside the main. This is looking quite good here for our Zerg player already. Probe going to scout inside the main. Seeing exactly what is going on here for Jumper. Jumper has held. Cyber Core going down. Because the gas is so late, I would expect this to be some type of a Hydralisk opener. Drone being transferred to that close 3rd base of XiaoShuai. And if we look at the worker count, 5 worker count lead here for Jumper. I'd say that's pretty standard, a little better than the previous game. Hydra Den down inside the main with the Zergling block here for Jumper. I really like this given their positions. Now XiaoShuai going to be allowed to put on a little bit of Hydralisk pressure, but I gotta say one thing about this map is the natural area is, you know, is kind of tight and a little easier for most Protoss to hold versus a 973 opener. So that's one thing about this map. So, you know, it's tight, but there's plenty of room for cannons. So, you know, I wouldn't expect a 973 to do a ton of damage here, but we'll have to wait and see. Zealots and a probe moving into the natural here, looking to get on this mineral line and do some economic damage here early on. Drones being pulled, one drone falling immediately. Good control here so far from both our players, but yeah, drone drill going down. Zealots getting inside the main with this probe, looking to do a little bit more damage. And yeah, good trades here against the Zerglings, and he will inevitably end up scouting this Hydralisk transition. Zealot at the third, looking to do a little bit of damage, but does end up getting pushed off. Stargate is up. I don't believe we've seen a Corsair yet, though. And Hydralisk and Zerglings already moving across the map, but we have 5 cannons in production here for our Protoss. Second Forge in the main immediately. Or third Forge. Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. You don't see the third Forge very often. We also have that Citadel on the way. Most likely going to just produce a Templar Archives after that. And yeah, we're probably going to just be getting into that Storm Tech. Uh-oh, a little bit of a misrally. Taking some shield damage on that Zealot. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of Hydralisks actually moving across the map here. Not a ton of drones. 22 workers for XiaoShuai to the 32 of Jumper. And here we go. That range attack has finished for XiaoShuai. Going to be allowed to pick off this first gateway and break the wall, maybe. Zerglings moving in here. XiaoShuai getting on top of these cannons. I don't know if it's enough anymore. Oh man, only 2 cannons remaining here for Jumper. He's gonna have to pull some probes and try to wall this as best he can. Putting down some emergency cannons as well. This is a very heavy committal here out of XiaoShuai. 5th hatchery going down as well. And yeah, it looks like the final remaining cannon was picked off here. Wall is going down, probes being crushed. And yeah, oh no, no more cannons remaining. GG is unfortunately called there for Jumper. And XiaoShuai taking a very quick series here to start things off. With that, XiaoShuai will be moving into the winner's match where he's going to end up facing the winner of Mihu versus LCYDH. Jumper being forced to go down to that elimination match after the first series. So we'll actually be, you know, he'll end up playing the loser, obviously, of Mihu versus LCYDH. Should be a little interesting here. XiaoShuai, you know, really just showing a pretty impeccable understanding of ZVP. I'm kind of interested to see how he's going to end up playing throughout the rest of these series. So with that, we will be transitioning to our next series. It should be Mihu versus LCYDH. I think we'll be going to a pretty short break here, 2-3 minute break, you know, just before we start this next series. But yeah, folks, thanks for tuning in, obviously, those of you who are here joining us, and hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. Let's go ahead, take a short break, grab some coffee, use the restroom, and yeah, we'll be back with some more BroodWar BSL action here in just a few minutes. back, everybody, to BSL Races Championship, Group A, or Race Championship Asia Group D. It's not even Race Championship. BSL 15 Group D. Here we go. We're back in it. You guys just got to see XiaoShuai versus Jumper. XiaoShuai taking it in a pretty convincing 2-0. That was a very, very solid Zerg play. Definitely looking forward to seeing him play more. But before we get to watch him play again, up next we have the dreaded Mihu versus LCYDH. Mihu, definitely a name you're going to recognize here. One of the Chinese greats, if not the greatest. He is an incredible Terran player, posting some massive results, winning the previous 2 BSL seasons here. So definitely a player to look out for. And he will be going up against LCYDH, a Chinese Protoss player. Looks like he took, around 25th to 32nd in BSL 14 Gosu League the previous season here. So definitely not, unfamiliar with BSL and the format. This should be an interesting one, If Mihu has a weak point, it might be TVP, although that's kind of really tough to say, but actually never mind, it's TVT. I don't know what I'm talking about. So Mihu having no weaknesses, we should just give him the trophy already. I'm just kidding. Game number 1 here between these two is going to be going straight into Overwatch. It's same 2-player map we got to see at the start of the previous series. This will be an interesting one for TVP. I don't expect a whole lot of super aggro aggression here early game, just because of these bridges, as well as the high grounds throughout the middle make it quite an interesting map to take mid-game skirmishes on. But yeah, close third. It's all defensible by siege tanks. So I want to say this is a pretty decent map here for a Terran versus Protoss. Yeah, we actually see the win percentage in favor of Protoss here on the map, though, given the map statistics. So kind of interesting. But anyways, guys, we are ready to jump into game number 1 here of Mihu versus LCYDH. Here we go. Let's get to it. And spawning at the top left corner as that blue Protoss, we have LCYDH. Spawning at the bottom right as red Terran, previous BSL winner, we have Mihu. So yeah, kind of like I was saying about this map TVP, my limited TVP knowledge says there's a fairly long distance from natural and natural. It's not like it's very easy for Protoss to get Dragoons across the map early on, and that kind of cramped bridge leading outside of each of the naturals makes it quite difficult for Terran and Protoss really to push through there. A simple small grouping of mines or siege tanks on one end or the other, and I think you've pretty much secured the bridge. So who knows what we're going to end up seeing here. Mihu, at least in the previous BSL events, has really favored a lot of 2-base timings in this matchup. So I feel like almost 80% or so of his TVPs were 4 fact openers into pressure, and he just finds a way to make it work. So we'll have to see what LCYDH comes up with to kind of handle this. LCYDH, another Chinese Protoss player. He's very much so should be familiar with Mihu's style, and at least he's had a little bit more to kind of prepare for given this series. We're not seeing anything out of the ordinary from either player. If anything, LCYDH getting a little greedy with an extremely late scout here. Mihu actually being the first player to scout across the map. You don't see that in this matchup very often. SCV roaming across the map here. We'll see nothing so far. First Zealot for LCYDH moving across the map as well. First Marine in production for Mihu. The SCV did scout the... oh, that's second Marine actually. SCV did scout a Zealot moving across the map. Gets inside the main, sees a gateway, spinning cyber core, nothing out of the ordinary here. Even mining a mineral from LCYDH. And just decides, you know what, I've seen all I need to see. Let's go ahead and back off. Fourth Marine even in production here for Mihu. And Zealot will be moving in, but the Marines choose to back away here. Oh, that can't be good. He lifted the factory on accident before placing the add-on. Look at that Marine control, though. Wow. Very good control here from Mihu, making it look easy. Didn't even need to pull an SCV or anything. Ooh, going to body block a little bit with his SCV. But that is a very quick Dragoon. I didn't realize how quickly that Dragoon was going to get across the map here. And yeah, second Dragoon as well in production, or moving across the map. Mihu does have that siege tank though. Mihu burning the shields off of that first Dragoon. No bunker quite yet. Looks like he really just wants to get his command center down as soon as possible. And just doing some good damage to that first Dragoon. But remember, we'll have a second Dragoon here in a second. So 2 Dragoons and a weak Zealot might be all he needs to push in here. Robo is going to be down, so this is just a single gateway into Robo. I like LCYDH's tech here so far. Pressure going down. It looks like that Zealot did end up falling. But Mihu, with his first tank, should be able to stave off any more pressure here from LCYDH. Second gateway being produced. They are dead even in worker count. Ooh. First tank does fall though. LCYDH making quick work of that. And actually, SCV even forced to be pulled off the command center. Suddenly, I think LCYDH is in a very good position here. Moving in, trying to get some extra damage done on this tank. If this tank falls, and it does, ooh, that is big, big damage here to Mihu. This command center not being allowed to finish. Probe transfer happening for LCYDH at the same time. So with that, that's a guaranteed economic advantage here early on. Robo support bay was put down for LCYDH, so it looks as if we do want to see some type of a Reaver transition. Wow, Goon's just diving in and killing a third tank. That's a little ballsy, I feel like. Ooh, SCV surround though on the ramp. They should be able to grab this weak Dragoon. But still, this is more lost mining time. 4 HP Dragoon running to the quarter of the main, just trying to pull units away as far as possible. And maybe a little bit of an overstay with this Dragoon. We'll see. Okay, second Dragoon joining it, so I guess he's fine for now. Shuttle already complete. Shuttle speed being researched, and first Reaver almost complete as well. This shuttle could be doom here for Mihu if these turrets do not get placed in time. Only a single turret being placed at the natural so far in case of DT. That is not the best turret to really defend Reaver at the moment. Observatory also being produced here for LCYDH, and yes, we see a shuttle with 2 Zealots and a Reaver moving across the map here. 3 Vultures finally out for our Terran player Mihu. Oh, and it looks like the shuttle going to be scouted out by these Vultures. And yes, Mihu wisely pulling back, recognizing this could be a DT drop or Reaver or something, so he will need to defend it. mines being researched by Mihu. Good timing on those mines. It should allow him, once that's complete, to get some map control, maybe delay a third base or something. But here we go. Shuttle moving into the main, scouting a turret, seeing that he's completely surrounded here by these vultures, and opting not to drop. Probably the wise decision here. Okay, first Reaver shot goes off. Ooh, getting a tank! Very nicely done here. Oh, this is just phenomenal control so far from LCYDH. Ooh, walking in here, looking for another shot. I mean, there's nothing to really deter this shuttle. Both tanks now weak. Another tank falling. And we don't have siege either. Every single tank just getting popped by this Reaver. Okay, maybe it's time to back up there. More Dragoons in production. I don't know. I feel like when you go 3 gateways this early after Reaver, you're almost looking for a bust. I'd really like to see LCYDH maybe just opt to go ahead and take a third base or something, but I mean, Mihu has that reputation for getting very aggressive on 2-base timings. So maybe that's why we're seeing such a early Dragoon count here out of LCYDH. SCV count, though, in favor of Mihu. 48 to the 45 LCYDH. Third Nexus does go down, though. We have Vulture Speed being researched at the moment. And Reaver wisely being pulled back. Maybe to try to hold this third and stall a little bit. Ooh, misrallied tank moving out in the center of the map, though. Hope that gets caught here. LCYDH having a slight supply lead, but maybe not as heavy of a lead as he should have by this point, especially after all of the tanks that were picked off. Zealot legs also being researched. And yes, this is once again going to be the dreaded Mihu 4 fact. Third command center, though, in production. So I was wondering if this would be a big 2-base timing, but it looks like no. Mihu opting to just go ahead and take a third, maybe due to all the tanks that were lost early game by both the Zealot Dragoon and the Reaver. So probably a good call here. Zealots scouting around, placing some scouting mines across the map. Ooh, nice scan going down, seeing the Templar archives as well as the Robo and the support bay, which is exactly all of the tech LCYDH has at the moment. I guess my big question is, what will the next tech be here for LCYDH? Would this be an Arbiter game, or is this going to be a carrier game, or are we just going to be Gateway Man? I guess with the Storm and the Shuttle, he could just be going for Storm drops here. It'll be a little interesting to see. Ooh, I think DT even being produced. Shuttle moving towards that third base. Just trying to delay as long as possible, it looks like. And with that, we should most likely be seeing LCYDH taking a fourth here. There's not really a whole lot of great positions for Protoss to attack these high ground bases, I feel like. Once the siege tanks are up top, turret placement has been completed, and the ramps are walled, there's not a whole lot of ability for Protoss to get a big surround with these Zealots and get Dragoons on top of the tank line. So I think we're going to be witnessing LCYDH play a little more passively here. Armory as well as Science Facility being produced so that Mihu can continue this upgrade production. Third gas also being completed here for Mihu. No third gas yet for LCYDH. Looks like he's content with just playing heavy gateway at the moment. So So this is a Storm Zealot drop, it looks to be. LCYDH moving in with this heavy Dragoon count, has 2 shuttles filled with Zealot Templar. Maybe this might be enough. Dragoons getting on top. Reaver going down here. We do have some Storms on the high ground and the low ground. Tank count is reduced, but not quite enough. Oh man, Mihu just has so many tanks. I still don't, I don't know. I think this was still in Mihu's favor, but it was quite close. It was quite close. And it looks like LCYDH forced to back off. Still, every time you're able to eliminate these tanks and reset that tank count, it's a good thing for Protoss. Looking at the worker count though, it looks like Mihu has a 10 worker advantage here, and they're essentially on the same base count. 4th base has been produced mid-left though. Oh, 2nd robo facility. How often do you see that? Almost never. That's kind of nice here from LCYDH. I wonder if that's just going to be for additional shuttle play, or maybe just more servers around the map. I'm really unsure. And we have that 7 factory count up now for Mihu as well. Continuing with this mass tank, mass vulture production. No reason to really get too Goliath heavy at the moment, as there's no carrier, no arbiter. So, you know, honestly, he just needs a few Goliaths to pick off shuttles and, you know, pick off observers, and that's about it. This Nexus being pelted by these vultures here mid-left. Actually doing some very good damage to it. I wonder if he'll be able to save it here. Storm drop at the natural, and that is so many dead SCVs. Oh my gosh. Massive economic damage being dealt here from LCYDH. But still though, we're losing our 4th base, which was our base advantage against Terran here. This could be disastrous, actually, for LCYDH without having that base lead. And actually, even a 4th command center being placed down bottom left. Once that's up, Mihu will have a base advantage in this matchup. Okay, 2 more shuttles moving to the south side of the map. I wonder if this is going to be targeted at the 3rd mineral line. Maybe if he's able to reset that mineral line at the 3rd base, it might prove to be a little difficult here. Ooh, and here we go. Big committal. Those dropping on top of those siege tanks, and actually both shuttles falling immediately. That's going to give a massive supply advantage here to our Terran favorite. Weapons being researched out of the forge at the moment. 2-1 upgrades for Terran, and in this matchup, 2-1 is really the indicator for that go time. You know, once you're 2-1 as Terran, you're gonna at least trade, you know, fairly favorably in the matchup. EMP also being researched here from Mihu, looking to maybe EMP this army. I don't believe we have any arbiters, but here we go. Getting on top of this concave. This is that bridge I was talking about. It's so difficult to move units across that bridge in any kind of an efficient engagement. And yes, it looks as if LCYDH's army just gets swallowed. Wow, massive supply lead after that one here for Mihu. And Mihu content with just sieging on the opposite side of this bridge. Units getting pulled in from that aggro. And yeah, looks like Mihu taking a pretty sizable advantage here, pushing into this natural, and there's just not much of a force left here from LCYDH to hold this one. Observatory going to fall. 2nd robo starting to get pelted. We have a small rally of 6 Dragoons trying to flank, but it's just not enough. There's just too much Terran at this point. Alright, Storm's going down. but Mihu wisely pulling those vultures back, realizing it's, you know, those Templar are the only units he has left, and GG is called there. So well played from Mihu, as expected, game number 1. I gotta say, LCYDH had an incredible start there, picking off, I think it was the first 3 tanks with just, you know, 1-gate Zealot Dragoon pressure. It's exactly where you want to be as a Protoss player, but Mihu just kind of sat back, rallied, took a 3rd base, and drew the game out and won through just honestly having better macro, like better SCV count, didn't get supply blocked, you know, good unit placement, and unfortunately that mass shuttle, you know, Reaver, Storm, Zealot timings from LCYDH just not quite able to get the job done. So very well played there. Game 1 from Mihu. He will take the lead in this first series. But because of that, LCYDH should have next map pick. It's kind of, you know, the one bonus of losing a game, I guess you could say. So maybe he's got something planned here on one of these other maps in the matchup. There's definitely plenty to choose from for Protoss, so I'll be interested in seeing which one it's going to be here. And actually, picking Neo Sylphid. That is interesting, I gotta say. I wouldn't have expected a Protoss player to pick Sylphid in this matchup. I feel like against a 2-player or a Terran that likes a lot of 2-base timings like Mihu, Sylphid could be a nightmare given their positions. But we'll have to see how that one goes. Sylphid, 3-player map. It's been around a while. It's you know, been on the ladder map pool, so I'm sure all you guys tuning in here are very familiar with this one. Pretty standard map, good for just about every matchup. It's very well rounded. So I'm sure we won't have any complaints from Mihu here either. But alright guys, it seems like we are ready to go here and get into game number 2 of Mihu versus LCYDH. Let's get to it. And spawning at the 12 o'clock position as that red Terran, we have Mihu. And spawning at the bottom right as the red Protoss, we have LCYDH. So Sylphid, you know, the little I know about the map, I think it is a little more favorable for most Terrans, I would say. It's those high ground 3rd bases towards the center, once Terran's able to secure them with, you know, siege tank, mine, turret, it can be quite difficult to push a Terran off of that. So if Mihu is able to secure that high ground base outside of LCYDH's natural, it's pretty much game over at that point. So, you know, most Protoss players I talk to about this map are fairly terrified of it in series versus Terran, but we'll see what LCYDH has planned here. It is a 3-player map. We'll have to, you know, I'm interested to see if maybe he'll go for a quicker scout, given that this is a 3-player map at this point. Mihu doing everything very standard. 1 racks in the main, taking his refinery, simulator being taken for LCYDH in the main as well. So no proxy shenanigans, nothing too crazy. Just a good stand-up BroodWar game here. Cybernetics core being dropped inside the main very quickly. Simulator has complete. And we have LCYDH mining gas. Looks like 2nd gateway. This is 10-15. Okay. So this should be heavy Dragoon pressure out of LCYDH. Kind of interested to wonder why he chose to go for this play, to be honest with you, but maybe he just wants to kind of throw off Mihu, especially after that game 1. I mean, his one gate standard pressure on such a large map ended up going so successfully that maybe he feels like he can out-control Mihu early game. But unfortunately for him, Mihu going to scout in here with his first SCV, sees both gateways complete, and has to know something is going on here. SCV running around the back of the mineral line there. Factory is already close to complete for Mihu. So he should be expecting this heavy gateway pressure from LCYDH. I'd expect to see a bunker at the natural here shortly. Factory has complete, add-on has started. Oh, we're even seeing a bunker in the main. That is an interesting choice. So he wants to be very safe here versus our Protoss LCYDH. I mean, it makes sense. This is a heavy committal from Protoss, right? Having to build both these gateways so quickly. You know, as long as these Dragoons don't really get the value that he's put into them, Mihu should be quite happy about it. Looks like we're going to be putting command center inside the main, not taking any kind of a risk. And yeah, I do like this choice to put the bunker inside the main as well here for Mihu. Looks like we might even be walling with the barracks. I definitely like that. Wonder if this will be siege first, I'm guessing. I feel like maybe a Dragoon was cut in order to get that Nexus a little faster. Maybe LCYDH already recognizing, hey, this has all been scouted. I'm not going to end up being able to do the damage I was expecting, so let's just start, you know, cut our losses and transition to the next point in the game, which might be a good call here. Second tank is out for Mihu. eBay also being complete, and yes, this is going to be siege first, so probably a wise call here from Mihu. Protoss sending out another probe, likely for a third Nexus, and no more Dragoons being produced. So I like this transition, recognizing that Mihu is in fact ready for this Dragoon pressure and not looking to take any kind of a risk. Missile turret being placed down inside the main. Tanks are being sieged, doing a little bit of damage here. LCYDH focusing that command center for a second, but ultimately forced to back off. And yes, third Nexus is down. Probes already being transferred to that natural, but Mihu's command center not far behind here. Big transfer of SCVs to the natural. And Mihu actually taking the lead in workers at, I guess they're tied, 29 to 29. Missile turret being placed at the natural, just to scout for any type of potential DT play, push off observers. And the natural gas also being taken for Mihu here. I like the LCYDH has cut unit production altogether here. He's truly just surviving off of these 5 Dragoons and really focusing the majority of his resources on infrastructure, putting down additional bases, getting his tech up. We already see a Citadel, have that Robo, have that Observatory. So good plays here. And because we have siege first, Vultures are going to be very late to get on the map. We won't have mines for a little while. We won't have Vulture speed. So there's not really a ton of aggression potential yet out of Mihu. I say yet because we do know how much Mihu enjoys those 4-fact timings. So that is still very much a possibility here. Third and fourth factory being produced from Mihu. Probes being transferred to that third base of LCYDH. And it looks like that first observer is sitting over the neutral ground at the natural here of Mihu. We'll be able to see everything. You can kind of see when Terran's moving out. You can see how many units are being rallied to the natural. It's just a very well-placed observer there. And actually, we're seeing tanks moving out a little bit. Maybe it's a feint? I'm not sure. 2 comm stats are done. I feel like from Mihu's side, he's going to obviously need vulture production before he can get too aggressive here. And yes, we are seeing that vulture production. I believe that's going to be mines and vulture speed being researched. So it looks as if Mihu is gearing up for some type of a big 4-fact pressure timing. As I said before, this is really the build and the play that I've seen from Mihu in the past that looked very scary to deal with. He just has so many units, it feels like, off of 4 factories, especially after producing so many tanks early on here. This could be quite scary to deal with. And yes, we do see him moving out, sieging those siege tanks. Big engagement, 2 tanks falling, or 2 dragoons falling immediately, and a lot of splash damage being dealt. Gateway is coming online here for LCYDH. He recognizes exactly what's going on here, and he's going to need to try to defend this. This is that third base high ground that I was worried about. This is really a big point of contention on this map, given their positions. If Mihu holds it, wow. So much damage here being done from Mihu and these siege tanks. And yeah, if he's able to hold this position, it's near impossible for it to be broken by Protoss. 2 DTs rallying in though. We're gonna see if there's enough scan, and yes, there is a scan. Scan goes down, and those DTs fall almost immediately. Looks like we do have legs kicking in though from LCYDH, trying to get on top of these siege tanks, deal a little bit of splash damage to the Terran army. It's just not quite enough, unfortunately. Mines being placed outside that natural as well, and it looks like Mihu content with just holding that high ground. We have a lot of probes though from LCYDH. This is going to be big macro if he's able to hang on. Ooh, siege tanks being focused, and yes, 2 tanks will fall. And this is a lot of dragoons actually still rallying out. So maybe LCYDH has done it. He might actually be able to break out of here. And yes, final siege tank does fall. There are more units rallying across the map from Mihu, but actually it looks like he's just content with sitting back now. LCYDH finally regaining map control here, but Mihu has that 3rd base in production. Looks like he's just going to be content with sitting and holding the mineral only to the right of his natural. Turret being placed in the center. And wow, suddenly that is a lot of zealots as well. Shuttle also being produced. I wonder if we're going to see more like Zealot Bomb Storm type play out of LCYDH. There's no turrets really placed inside the main, so it could be vulnerable to some kind of a drop. 1 turret in the mineral line, and I think that's it. Ooh, good turret placement taking down that observer. And yeah, it seems like Mihu's just going to have to transition to the next phase of this game. He's recognized LCYDH has done what is necessary to prevent that type of 4-fact timing. Needs to desperately just hang on to bases at this point. Yes, we're seeing more Templar, more shuttle. This in fact will be that speed shuttle harass style of PvT. That's a lot of zealots for LCYDH. I really like his unit composition and choice here. I think an Arbiter would go well with this, but we're not seeing a Stargate yet, unfortunately. Tank count slowly starting to rise here for Mihu. 2nd armory being added as well. Looks like Mihu starting to truly focus on getting those upgrades up so that he can trade very well against this Protoss force. Starport being added. We'll likely be seeing science vessels and EMP here shortly as well. But 4th base fully online now for LCYDH. This is a forward 3rd though, or forward 4th rather. I think it's a little scary. You know, I could see Mihu inevitably sieging up to this high ground and being able to deny mining at this base. But actually, we even have a 5th at the other main as well for Sylphid, or on Sylphid here. So very good call here from our Protoss player. I feel like LCYDH in general just making really good plays, but I'd like to see some higher tech units, either arbiters or carriers, you know, being able to even fake a recall inside the main forces a Terran to play much differently. But it seems like LCYDH happy to just play Gateway Man here, which I think is kind of playing into Terran's hands a little bit. Ooh, big mine connections. Okay, good job clearing those. Tank count continuing to rise here. And yeah, we even see a couple tanks being dedicated to the main with some mines and turrets. So Mihu, knowing that recall, you know, possibility is there, but actually there's still no Stargate. This is just pure gateways, pure Zealot, pure Dragoon, and LCYDH just about to hit max. So good timing at the 14-minute mark. Mihu at 163 supplies, so not too far off. And we should be seeing Mihu taking a 4th base here shortly. LCYDH doing a good job clearing mines up here, scouting for that 4th, and recognizing that it is indeed not there yet. First vessel out on the field, or 2nd vessel rather, out on the field for Mihu. That is just so much Protoss. I feel like Mihu may be a little delayed on his 4th, especially only being on 2 gases to now the 4 and 5 potentially of LCYDH. We do have those upgrades just about to complete though for Mihu. Maybe this is his power spike timing. He's also hit max. Here we go. Big engagement coming in. Shuttles moving to storm. And Zealots getting on top of these vultures for now. Mihu doing a great job buffering for these siege tanks. And yes, it looks like Protoss just gets vaporized at the moment. Protoss actually trade doing pretty well. I take that back. Tank count's been mostly reduced to rubble. And Storm's continuing to blanket these remaining siege tanks. But Protoss army does inevitably fall. 3 tanks remaining here for Mihu. And Vultures rallying in to join it. I don't know. I feel like, obviously, LCYDH still with the economic advantage, taking so many bases on this map. And Mihu, without a 4th, will start to starve the longer this game goes. Maybe LCYDH, honestly, in the favorable position here, just based purely on economy. And yes, Mihu is going to scout the other main. Sees that LCYDH has 3 additional bases. That's got to be a little scary to see. Although we do have Mihu with that 2-1 power spike, looking to maybe gear up for an additional move out here. But Protoss actually going to beat him to it, moving in to try to deny this 4th. Lots of units being rallied onto this high ground from LCYDH, getting on top of this tank line. And yeah, big damage. Tanks already being reduced here for Mihu. Oh wow, Shuttle coming in with some additional storms too, but massive mine going down as well for Mihu. And somehow Mihu came out on top there. I was almost guaranteed, thought that LCYDH had that one. But still, the money's starting to really come in for LCYDH. It almost feels like it doesn't matter that he's taking these inefficient trades. He's just got so much more to play with. Okay, another engagement coming in here. But actually, yeah, Mihu will push this off with his mainly heavy vulture count, honestly. It's just the upgrades, it feels like, for Mihu going his way. I mean, he's not even being aggressive, Mihu. He's just kind of trying to hold bases, but it's going on very well for him. Some of these bases of LCYDH looking a little exposed. I'd like to see, you know, more cannons being placed, wall offs, in order to prevent any type of harassment from Mihu's vultures. Here we go. Mine's being cleared a little bit. And it looks like LCYDH may be trying to go for another engagement here, but this time it will definitely not work. There's just so much Terran here. And Protoss going to move in here, looking to storm. Not the best storms. And yeah, this is going to be an easy hold here for Mihu. I mean, you can't just do it with Gatewaymen, unfortunately. You really need to have carriers or ground force with arbiters in ultra late game PvT. If you don't, you're really playing into Terran's hands. You know, siege tanks are so strong. They have so much range, deal a lot of splash damage. It's just quite difficult to kill off with just pure Zealot Dragoon storm. But here we go, another engagement coming in. Zealots going down to those mines. Templar moving in though, looking to get some big storms, and actually taking down a few of those tanks here. We have some more storms coming in, you know, slowly starting to reduce this tank count of Mihu. So, you know, good engagement once again from both players. But, you know, as I was mentioning, this base, it's so difficult to really hold off against a Terran player. He's even on the low ground, but siege tanks have so much range that he's able to prevent that mining altogether now. Zealots still continuing to trickle in here, trying to do some additional damage to these siege tanks, but it's definitely not enough. There's too many tanks here now. These Dragoons need to back off. But they will turn into blue goo instead. So that was a lot of lost probes, unfortunately, at that base for Mihu. His economy is trying to rally here. He wants to keep this base at all costs. And actually, that's a lot of Zealots. He might be able to do it. But it looks like more and more Goliaths and Vultures starting to rally in here. We'll be able to push this force off once again. Mihu, though, it's worth mentioning, main and natural are mined out. I'm sure his mineral only won't be too far behind that, but he has secured another base mid-right and top left, although it will be forced to lift here. So maybe LCYDH doing a better job now, starting to not engage the main force head-on, but actually do a little bit more harass. And I gotta say, LCYDH doing a great job spending his resources as well. I don't think he realizes there's a mineral only at 6 o'clock, though. If he had this 6 o'clock base, I think it'd be giving him the additional resources he needs to kind of stay in this one. Probe count's a little below where it probably should be, given he just lost so many probes at that outer base. It's only 58 workers to the 60 of Mihu. Still producing pure Gatewayman shuttle. That is once again, just a lot of Dragoons, a lot of Zealots, a lot of Templar. Scan going down bottom left. We'll see some cannons and gateways. Both players just trying to wait out until they get to that max supply once again. We're not really seeing a whole lot of storm drops on the mineral lines here. I'm kind of interested. I think that went very well for him the previous game. Might be worth going for it here again. Here we go. Big surround. Tanks in siege mode. Looks like LCYDH trying to get on top of this force with as many zealots as he has. Storm drop going down, actually storming the majority of these siege tanks here. And yeah, looks like tanks are falling. Ooh, zealots maybe going for the wrong target there. Should probably get on top of these siege tanks. But either way, once again, it looks like Mihu's force going to be eliminated here, barely. Maybe I spoke too soon. It's very, very close in these fights, actually. Ooh, another big storm. Wow, there's just so many Templar. And Mihu just controlling to the bitter end here. Doing a great job and has finally pulled ahead in supply. Siege tanks able to finally reach that nexus there, mid-left. Ooh, Zealot diving on top of a tank, nice job. But here comes the Dragoon rally. Vulture's doing a great job buffering with those mines, but boom, big explosion, and those final two tanks do fall. Ha! I like that nexus, like the Manor nexus, just blocking mid-left saying, no, this is my base. I really like that, actually. I mean, it's great, right? Like he's gonna have to kill this Nexus off with potentially Vulture only before he's able to even mine from this base, and that's kind of been the story of this game. LCYDH doing a great job macroing and just, I guess, just mining more resources, making it come down to that. So even though the engagements have not been the most efficient here, it doesn't matter because he's just had so many more units. Big engagement coming in once again. Very nice Zealot bombs getting on top of these siege tank lines, and mines just blowing up everything. LCYDH recognizing he can now just freely move into this top left expansion, kill off these SCVs and turrets, not before a couple of observers fall, and SCVs forced to retreat yet again. Mihu rallying units to that top left expansion, though, really forced to kind of, save it. He needs that base in order to continue. LCYDH needs to figure out he's got that mineral only bottom middle, though. That would go very well for him here. Nice Zealot splitting off to every single siege tank, trying to maximize that splash damage. And yes, actually able to eliminate that final remaining high ground siege tank. Zealot's also getting on the mineral line, doing a little bit of additional splash damage as well. Yeah, if LCYDH had the 6 o'clock mineral only, I think he'd be in a wonderful spot here. But unfortunately, doesn't recognize it. I believe we see a shuttle moving into Storm Drop mid-right. This is what I was talking about earlier. He did a great job of this the previous game. Maybe if he's able to eliminate all the mining there mid-right, he might actually take this one. Ooh, SCV's being pulled immediately, though. Still got quite a nice storm off. And once again, really it seems like towards the end of this game, the base for contention are both going to be located top left. LCYDH doing everything he can to prevent mining as well as mine the mineral-only top left as well. This is just so many siege tanks on the high ground. I don't think there's anything LCYDH can do about this time. I mean, that's really just the strength of Terran on this map. That high ground is near impossible to break. Doesn't matter how many Zealots, how many Dragoons you have. It's just such a strong position for Terran to be in. Still though, no SCVs at that top left expansion. He is not able to mine it at the moment. The longer the game goes though, LCYDH still mining off of 4 expansions. He might be, you know, he's definitely winning the resource battle this game. Here we go. Looks like both players just kind of getting their armies ready for what's to come. Ooh, nice snipes from these vultures on those Templar. That's big damage here. SCVs have been finally transferred to that top left expansion. That will boost Mihu's economy from now on. And it looks like we are redirecting our focus to mid-right. Big Zealot Dragoon timing heading up to that 3 o'clock expansion. Zealots spreading out, trying to do as much damage as they can, but Mihu all over it, rallying in with each and every single vulture he has. Yeah, more and more damage just being dealt here. Tanks do fall once again on that high ground though. And we do have Zealots on top of the siege tanks in the center. So very nicely done here from LCYDH. Boom, another tank falling. And once again, LCYDH just winning the resource battle. It doesn't seem to matter, you know, how many units he's losing because he's able to produce so many more. Alright, we have a little bit of a retreat here. Nice storm on top of a tank there. A couple more tanks falling. And suddenly this mineral-only top left is looking very exposed here for LCYDH. He could be in trouble. It is 3-3 to 3-2. 3 attack just now finishing for Protoss. Nice storm. We have a shuttle with 4 Templar moving top left. I think that's meant for the mineral line, but actually I'm going to use it to try to defend this mineral only top left. And yep, a couple more storms going down here. Those siege tanks are very bruised, but they will live. Mihu once again taking the supply lead, 146 to 130 of LCYDH. But actually just enough units rallying in here, and LCYDH will be able to save his mineral-only top left. And actually he's maybe in a position to do some damage to this top left base. Mihu, though, all over it, rallying in with his factories to top left, realizing he's absolutely needs to keep this base alive. Nice storm. Ooh, blue goo is all that remains of that forest top left. Zealots now streaming across the map, trying to desperately save this top left expansion. This is still so many units out of LCYDH. Ooh, Vulture clearing that mineral line here mid-right. Looks as if LCYDH has retaken that base, trying to get as many resources out of it as possible. Ooh. Dragoon does fall to those mines. 2 Dragoons. Mihu just overall looks to be a little more efficient. Here we go. Big engagement here. Lots of Zealots getting on top of these Vulture tanks. Shuttle with 4 Templar moving in. Wow, massive, massive storms out of LCYDH. That was good damage from our Protoss player. Oh man, he's just got to take that mineral only at bottom center. If he has the space, he's probably in a great position, honestly. Mihu only mining off the 2 bases for the moment. Meanwhile, I believe LCYDH basically on just about 2 base mining for the moment too. But he will end up mining out fairly soon. No tanks mid-right, nothing mid-right. Mihu has refocused everything to top left, recognizing LCYDH desperately needs this mineral-only top left. Solid bomb on the siege tank line. I like this. Ooh, I like the drag. Very, very nice. Good control. Still though, the map is running out of resources here for LCYDH. He's got to find another base and he's got to secure it, or this will be Mihu's game. Oh, nice 3 Vulture run by, taking out mid-right here. And here we go. It looks... Oh, I thought he was moving in there. Never mind. LCYDH wisely backing off. Losing a couple more Templar to some Vultures. And now it's almost a 30 supply lead here for Mihu. Here we go. Big engagement. Zealots moving in, trying to get on top of that mineral line. Storm's being blanketed. Shuttle was targeted though. Does go down. And that's a lot of blue goo. GG is called from LCYDH, and Mihu taking game 2 and thus the series, and we'll move on to our winners match. That was, I mean, that's got to be the best game of the day easily so far. Almost a 40-minute PvT with Mihu. Once again, LCYDH, hats off. I mean, he was in a phenomenal position for the majority, I feel like, of that game. Against our previous BSL winner and widely regarded best player in China. So incredible job by LCYDH. I think he played phenomenally, just it wasn't quite enough. Maybe if he was able to secure another base or 2, or if, you know, 1 or 2 storm drops went a little more favorably, he very well might have been the victor of that match. But as is, he will end up moving on to the elimination match to face off against our Taiwan Protoss Jumper. Or Thailand Protoss Jumper. So yeah, Jumper versus LCYDH PvP. That will end up being our next match here. Oh, never mind. It's going to be the winner's match. I'm confused here. It's going to be XiaoShuai versus Mihu as the winner's match. That's going to be a ZBT, and that should be a treat. XiaoShuai, you know, obviously looked phenomenal against Jumper, in their series, and then Mihu narrowly pulling that one out against LCYDH. It's hard to, it would be difficult to say that Mihu would not be the favorite here. He is phenomenal TVZ that we've seen in previous BSL seasons, taking out the likes of, players like Ziki and, other top Zergs. So this should be a pretty interesting one. Also going to be a best of 3. So actually, the winner of this series will be the winner of the group. So this is probably the most prestigious match of the night. Kind of excited to see how this one plays out. I really hope XiaoShuai, pulls out a pretty competitive series here for us against Mihu. But Mihu, you know, he is the Chinese monster, man. He's won our last 2 BSL series, leagues, and is proven to be the Terran to really try to strive for at the moment. So this one should be pretty exciting. We could go straight into it. I'm excited for this one. Yeah. All right, folks. So it will be XiaoShuai versus Mihu. Should be a pretty interesting one. I'm really excited to see how this one ends up playing out, honestly. It will be ZVT, quite a fun matchup, so we finally get to see, you know, a different matchup for the day as well. Makes this, a little more interesting in that aspect. I haven't seen a ton of XiaoShuai before this, but, you know, he definitely looks like he knows exactly what he's doing here. Mihu, previous BSL winner, he obviously knows exactly what he's doing here, so kind of interested to see how it's going to play out on these new BSL maps. I'm sure these guys have been putting some pretty serious thought into it. And actually, map number 1 going to be Longinus. This is quite an interesting one. I would have expected this to be a little more Zerg favored, believe it or not, just given, you know, Zerg's power spike off of a 4 gas, but we look at the TVZ win rate, and it's at 68% in favor of Terran there. Quite interesting. Still though, this will be a map game number 1 between Mihu and XiaoShuai, and it sounds like we are ready to go, folks. So let's go ahead and get into our winners match, game number 1. Here we go. And spawning mid-right as the blue Zerg on Longinus, it is XiaoShuai. Spawning at the bottom left as our red Terran, it is Mihu. So right off the bat, Longinus, was a fairly popular map back in the day. I kind of interested to see how this one's played out because it's been many, many years before I've started, really putting more time into practicing on this map and watching commentating games of it. So this is going to be kind of interesting. I would assume that at least our Zerg player will desperately want to get to one of the double gas bases. It's one of the key features of this map. There are 3 high ground third bases on the map, each with 2 Vespian geysers available, which will allow for things like very heavy mass butaplay, quick ultralisk, defiler, all off of just, a single base. So this is going to be quite interesting here. This looks to be a 12 hatch opener, fairly standard here from our Zerg. And we'll see here in a second. Yeah, no more drones, so this will be likely just a 2 hatch layer play out of Zerg. Drone scout moving out bottom left, so he will get first scout off. Meanwhile, Mihu moving towards the top left location with his scouting SCV. I don't believe he will get first scout off. No gas. Delayed gas. A little interested by that decision. I mean, it is only slightly delayed, but it does make a difference in this matchup. Drone moving in with some really good control here at the natural. Wow, that is not easy to do, folks. Don't try this at home. SCV down to 10 HP. Man, I thought he was going to pick that off there. But the Marine does come out to save it, so very, very good control here from XiaoShuai. That is really not easy to do. I'm already impressed. Looks like the drone will be moving back, looking to just start gathering some resources at the Zerg Natural. Second barracks going down in the main. All very, very standard stuff. Ooh, I like this out of XiaoShuai. 4 lings already in production at the main, most likely 2 at the natural as well. This is going to be a 6 ling timing, trying to force a bunker out of Mihu. This is very, very strong play. Zergling's chasing the SCV around. Never mind. This is not what I thought it was. He's just content with trying to push the SCV around, I guess. Overlord in production as well. Looks like refinery going down in the main and continual SCV production so far. Speed is being researched, and these 4 Lings will push off this SCV, and it's looking to be some type of Ling pressure play. We saw 4 more Zerglings being produced at the natural, and it looks as if XiaoShuai doing everything in his capability to try to prevent this SCV from scouting. Mihu being very greedy as well. This is an academy opener with no bunker. He's just taking a risk here, it feels like. Spire down in the main. Ling speed halfway done, and this is so many Zerglings. I really feel like XiaoShuai in a very strong position to potentially take this here. Only showing the 3 Zerglings as well. Depot going down, though. I wonder if he sensed this out somehow. There's no way. Zergling speed just about to complete right before the Zerglings arrive. And here we go, folks. It's a Ling Flood. Zerglings getting a nice surround on these Marines. Is it enough, though? Nope. What? Good game. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I thought he had it. I was really surprised by that one. I was like, oh man, like he doesn't have a bunker. He's playing greedy. Like he didn't even scout. Nope, turns out it doesn't even matter. All you gotta do is make a depot. Oh man. Nice try there from XiaoShuai. You know, not a bad call given it's game 1 in the series. Against such a strong competitor, you gotta take risks, right? You gotta flip some coins here and there. And I'll tell you this, Mihu will definitely have that in the back of his mind going into game number 2. Then again, it is Longinus. Maybe it's like a calculated risk given you didn't want to get into maybe a later game with Mihu on such a Terran favorite map, given their positions or something like that. So it happens. But yeah, game number 1 in very quick, decisive fashion goes to Mihu. So that does mean it will be XiaoShuai's map pick for game number 2. So maybe he's got different plans here. But still, that was just a quick lead, quick win for Mihu. Not a whole lot really, honestly, happened there. It's kind of interesting. Sometimes you just got to try the Ling Flood, but unfortunately, that time it did not end up working out for him. Marines are just too strong when paired with the wall and other SCVs and things. And map number 2 looks like once again will be Neo Sylphid. Pretty common map. I actually really like this map selection as a Zerg player. There's that neutral high ground area between the main and natural where you could really get a lot of muta harassment done, picking off straggling Marines, SCVs, going from the main to the natural, and it forces a lot of turrets. And as well as the naturals don't have a whole lot of positions for turrets to really be placed. It kind of disrupts your mining and things like that if you're a Terran player. So interesting map. Looks like it is dead even at 272 wins apiece, 50%. So yeah, this should be a fun one. But it sounds like we are ready to get into game number 2 here of XiaoShuai versus Mihu. Let's jump into it. Spawning at the top center as the blue Zerg, we have XiaoShuai. And spawning bottom left as that red Terran, we have Mihu. So interesting game, from that first series. There's not a whole lot to really take out of that one. XiaoShuai just went for potential timing, didn't pay off for him. You got to do that from time to time. So we'll have to see how this one goes. Right off the bat, I gotta say, XiaoShuai going to get this first Overlord Scout, and he is in a phenomenal spot for this game. You know, I was mentioning it before, but there's plenty of neutral ground between the main and natural on this map to really get a lot of muta damage done, which I find quite strong, especially if you're a player like XiaoShuai who has that high level muta control. It really can be a nuisance for Terran to try to defend early, prevent you know, any kind of serious economical damage being done, and you know, honestly, just preventing Marines from being picked off as well. It's a quick way to lose a game as a Terran player. So we'll see what happens here. This is going to be 12 hatchery at the natural, pretty standard. Probably going into an 11 pool and then a 10 gas, but we actually didn't see that last game, so I'm a little interested to see what's going to go on here. This will be 11 pool. Let's see if he makes the drone again. Nope. Okay, so that must have been because he was doing the Ling Flood, I'm assuming. So there we go. Very standard this game. This looks like textbook 2-hatch muta. Good Overlord placement as well by XiaoShuai, scouting out that first barracks. Doesn't even have to send a drone out because he's scouted Mihu first, so he can truly just sit here and optimize his mining for the moment. SCV scouting around the main, sees nothing out of the ordinary. Marine pushing to that natural. This will allow him to go ahead and put down his natural command center. Drone moving to the natural to optimize this mining. He has 1 drone per mineral patch, as you should. And SCVs continuing to be produced here. Layer is down. 2 Zerglings being produced in the main. Actually, it might be 4. I'm not sure. Okay, it is 4. Followed by an Overlord on 16 supply, all very standard. Most likely going to be drones at the natural. Zergling speed also being produced from our Zerg player. Second barracks going down. So this is, you know, other than the Ling Flood, this is, you know, pretty standard given what we saw, you know, in most ZVTs. It's almost like last game, except a little drone heavier. So this will not be a Ling Flood. However, this is still an Academy timing, it looks to be, from Mihu, which is quite scary. I usually favor opening with 6 Lings just to prevent this timing in general from Terran. If you open with 6 Lings versus a Terran that's going Academy and they don't get a bunker, they can a lot of the times just die or take some severe damage. Ooh, nice Ling pickup. Oh, I thought he was going to get an SCV there. But Terrans really don't like to make that bunker if they're opening Academy because it severely delays the stim rush timing. Zerg taking a 3rd mid-right. So that 3rd gas base will be operational in a bit here. Because of this, we're going to need 2 Sunkens for XiaoShuai in order to survive the Academy timing. Bunker is down, it's delayed. Actually, this isn't even... I feel like the Academy isn't early enough for a stim rush, so this might be a little bit of a delayed stim rush here. But either way, the bunker is down. Drone count is near optimal. And Spire just about to complete, so this is definitely not going to be any type of a stim rush, it looks like, out of Mihu. And we have air attack being researched by that Spire. It seems to be favored by a lot of Zergs in the current meta, especially if you're planning on playing hyper aggressive with your Mutalisk, diving into kill turrets and trade versus Marines and so forth. Here we go. Marines are moving out slightly, not overcommitting. Bunker is still full. So he wants to catch any type of a Ling run by that could possibly happen. The one thing is there's no turrets quite yet, which is a little scary if you're Mihu. Okay, looks like turrets are just about perfectly timed to come online here. 3 turrets at the natural mineral line. Marines move back, scan that high ground, and are looking to pick off some of these Muta. No Marine range quite yet. Ooh, good pickups here from XiaoShuai. XiaoShuai floating a little bit of minerals at this point. I guess he just spent it. And third base is complete. That third gas is also completed for XiaoShuai. And here we go. Zergling's moving in, trying to get a little bit of damage and kill off that turret, but he's unable to do so. That was a very costly attack there, unfortunately, for XiaoShuai. With that, I'm not even sure if he can hold his third. He's really got to start playing a little more passive. It was a nice risk, especially coming in with those Zerglings, trying to target that one down, but SCV repair just a little too strong. Players are even in supply for the moment. Continual Muta production from XiaoShuai. Third base is down. Hydra Den first. I like this, playing very safe. Ooh, 2 Mutas fall. And slowly, I think our Terran player Mihu is going to start feeling a little more confident to move out on the map. 10 Muta alive here, diving in, not even trying to really control, and ooh, that is not good. That is really not good for our Zerg. He's gonna need Sunkens or something, I believe, to try to defend this timing. Once that +1 weapons kicks in for Terran, he should just be tearing through these Mutalisks. Alright, Muta's straggling from behind here. Do get a couple of the Marines towards the back end of this force. Starport being produced by Mihu, and more Mutas being rallied in here. Mihu not overextending, content with just sitting kind of close to the natural of XiaoShuai. This is 11 Muta once again. Ooh, good volleys there from both players. But yet another Muta falling down. Only 5 Muta now remaining. Wow. In just an instant, 6 Muta ended up falling there. Third base is now getting very saturated here for XiaoShuai, so he's definitely keeping up on that drone count. Second starport completed, and we'll likely see that vessel tech being produced. Yep, science facility being produced here now. XiaoShuai just trying to find anything that's caught out of position, but Mihu really doing a great job just kind of sitting and keeping everything together, maximizing his DPS. But still, XiaoShuai showing he's got phenomenal Muta control, picking off individual Marines, forcing out stims. Wow, very nice. Very nicely done. And this first bio move out from Mihu will be eliminated. Now with that, we should have Lurker tech up, and yes, we do have Lurkers being produced here for XiaoShuai. Hive on the way. We'll likely see an Evo chamber here for +1 armor momentarily. Muta's still out on the map, but I mean, remember they're quite bruised. There wasn't a ton of them left. Okay, 10 Mutas still remaining. That's a pretty sizable force. Diving towards the back of the main here, picking off a couple of these SCVs and actually going to attack this exposed engineering bay, eliminating that +2 upgrade for Terran. No, don't run away! It's so close! Oh no. Maybe a little bit of a mistime, but I guess he feels like he absolutely needs to bring these Mutas home to survive. And yes, he absolutely does, because the final Lurker does end up falling here. These Muta are desperately needed at the natural. Mihu able to get on top of this mineral line here. Mihu's coming in, Lurkers forced to burrow. And actually Mihu just tearing down individual drones at the moment. Oh no. Little bit of a misstep there from XiaoShuai, maybe getting too eager to pull those Lurkers forward. If he had just sat them at the natural and, you know, traded the mutas for the eBay, he'd be in a much better position. As is XiaoShuai at 24 workers to the 46 here of Mihu. Lurkers going down the center of the map, trying to apply a little bit of pressure here. But the first vessel is up. 3 Lurkers remaining. And it looks like Consume being researched. I don't see many more drones coming out of the main and natural, which makes me believe XiaoShuai is going for a big timing here. This is almost like a do or die timing at this point. There's no +1 going on Evo Chamber. There's not even an Evo Chamber. So yeah, this is going to be a little tricky. We do have a lot of Lurkers though in the center. Okay, we do have an Evo Chamber in the main. Big move in here with a lot of Lurkers trying to surround this Bioforce and actually getting decent trades. Wow, that went a little better than I was expecting, but unfortunately only 4 Lurkers remaining, and GG is called there from XiaoShuai, meaning that Mihu will move on out of this group with a very convincing 2-0 against XiaoShuai. Man, XiaoShuai, he had some phenomenal plays there. Good muta control, despite the early unfortunate engagements, and was in a very strong position to, eliminate that eBay, remove the upgrades, but maybe got a little overzealous with those Lurkers in the mid-game portion of this. So yeah, hats off to Mihu once again, but XiaoShuai will be moving down to the decider match to face the winner of Jumper versus LCYDH, which means our next match will be Jumper versus LCYDH PvP between our Thailand Protoss Jumper and our Chinese Protoss LCYDH. So that should be a pretty interesting match here. Definitely excited to kind of get that one started. So for those of you who are, excited, I think we're going to go to a quick little break here, 2-3 minute break. But as soon as we come back from the break, it'll be Jumper versus LCYDH. So yeah, you guys got that to look forward to. We'll have a few minutes to get up, stretch our legs, and yeah, then we'll be back with the next one.
lost. There's always a hope. Rise and fight.
Welcome back, everybody, to BSL 15 Asia region. We have Group D today. We just got to see a pretty phenomenal series between XiaoShuai and Mihu. Mihu coming out on top with a clean 2-0 victory, so he will actually be moving on to the next stage of BSL. But up next we have LCYDH versus Jumper. For those of you who watch a lot of BSL, you're probably pretty familiar with Jumper. He's our Thailand player, a fellow Red Clan member. Gotta represent my clan here. And he'll be going up against LCYDH, who's a Chinese Protoss player, looking very, very strong in the first series versus Mihu. Gotta say, that Sylphid game between him and Mihu was definitely the star of the show so far today. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what Jumper can come up with to deal with such a phenomenal player here. You know, it is PvP. And I believe game one we're going to be starting on Longinus, so great map for the matchup, honestly. I sure hope this one gets to go a little later on and we get to see these two players take advantage of that double gas third, which is, in my opinion, the key feature on this map. But there's also some very massive, like, triple wide ramps leading up to the center of the map on this map, so there should be a lot of fun little areas, you know, for each of these guys to be taking skirmishes and engagements. But yeah, should be a pretty fun one. All right, guys, we are ready to jump into it here. LCYDH versus Jumper, game one on Longinus. Here we go. And spawning at the top left as that olive Protoss, we have LCYDH. Spawning at the bottom left as the yellow Protoss from Thailand, we have Jumper. So I guess just based on the LCYDH versus Mihu game, it would seem that LCYDH is pretty familiar with how to control Zealot, Dragoon, Storm Drop, so that could come in handy here for this PvP, honestly. LCYDH had phenomenal macro. You might even say he, you know, honestly had the better end of the resources versus Mihu, which is not easy to do. Mihu, obviously the two-time BSL champion so far. So we'll actually see what Jumper can come up with to try to deal with this amazing Protoss from China. Looks to be a 9-gate in the main. I feel like 9-gate in this matchup, you're trying to be a little more aggressive with it. I don't know the advantage of 9-gate versus 10-gate, you know, other than obviously just a probe here. Slightly quicker gas going down for LCYDH as well. Whereas Jumper going for 2-gate, the more I think about this, the more I kind of like 2-gate, given there's no ramp leading into the main on Longinus. You know, there's not really a great place to cut, like a choke point to really defend and prevent Zealot pressure from an opponent. And Jumper also going to get first scout off, whereas LCYDH going to get last scout. So I want to give the slight edge to Jumper here just from the start. There is 13 probes for LCYDH to the 12 of Jumper at the moment. Okay, I guess they're even, so, you know, slight lead on probes to LCYDH, but it is very brief. Jumper going to scout the core, going to scout the single gate opener. Second pylon going down as well. So yeah, it looks like, you know, Jumper may be in a position to get a little bit of damage done here. Oh, very nice. He blocks off 2 mineral patches and traps a probe. Very well done from Jumper here. And yeah, LCYDH going to get to work immediately on that pylon, blocking off 2 mineral patches here. That's quite annoying if you're a Protoss. And Jumper looking to maybe try to wall the gateway here. Oh, but LCYDH all over it, going to block off that potential block with a pylon. Zealot moving in, trying to get a little bit of damage on this first Zealot of Jumper. But actually, Jumper getting the better of it because he's just focusing the Dragoon slightly more. Oh, whoa! He traps the Goon? That is a trapped Dragoon here. So very, very nice. Very, very nicely done here from Jumper. That's very, very... I mean, I was not expecting that. We do have a battery maybe slightly on time here to try to defend this, but this is still 2 Zealots versus a trapped Dragoon. Good control here so far from both of our players. 1 probe does fall. Battery down as well here for Jumper, so things are getting crazy. Each of these Dragoons is trapped though. Jumper also getting a probe in position to recreate that pylon once it's downed. And actually more probes even being pulled off the line here. Second battery is up, final Dragoon falls, and Zealot actually moving into the mineral line here. Wow, a shield battery to wall as well. Very unique play. You don't see this often, actually. But Zealot's still being streamlined across the map. This is a heavy, heavy committal here from Jumper. Ooh, nice pickup. Re-healing with the batteries once again. And just continual Zealot production from both of our players. Okay, we do have a Dragoon out though. Zealots are being controlled from Jumper, focusing down some probes here, just causing some additional economic damage given the start. We have 11 probes for LCYDH to the 16 of Jumper. Utilizing each of these batteries as much as he can, just trying to get as much use out of them as possible. And Jumper still just streaming in with these Zealots. LCYDH trying to focus down some of these pylons as much as he can, and Jumper just abandons it, goes for the mineral line, wants to get some probe damage done. And yeah, LCYDH just focusing down these pylons really doesn't want Jumper to be able to utilize any of these batteries, and yes, now they are all unpowered. But still though, Jumper focusing down more and more probes. We just have the 8 probes left for LCYDH with continual Zealots moving across the map. Third gateway being produced from Jumper. He can afford a core here. But unfortunately, Zealots just kind of being piecemeal focused here. We have the Dragoon count up to 3 for LCYDH. Yeah, this is a pretty sizable force here. Jumper going to be forced to retreat. And yes, it looks like LCYDH recognizes he's got a small window here to try to get some serious damage done. Pylons going down in the main here for Jumper, trying to restabilize, get that unit count up to a position where he can try to defend this counter timing. But this is going to be a lot of Dragoons and Zealots moving in for LCYDH. First Dragoon arriving. Ooh, Jumper trying to get a nice surround on this, just not able to do so quite yet. We have 5 Zealots for Jumper versus 3 Zealots and 3 Dragoons. Jumper trying to utilize this battery, but actually the Zealots falling quite quickly. Probes being pulled from the line. I think he's realized he's got to get some type of a surround on these Dragoons. Ooh, Zealot even falling to probes there, so good control from Jumper. Ooh, nice flank coming around with these probes, and first two Dragoons are out for Jumper as well. probes getting on top of these Dragoons, trying their best to trap them. He might be able to. One Dragoon, yes, getting trapped immediately from Jumper, but a Dragoon does fall from LCYDH as well. This is just chaos inside the main of Jumper. Nice trap, yet again, another Dragoon will fall. And it looks like Jumper might have stabilized. There's still those 2 scouting shield batteries inside the main here of LCYDH, so he does see any units that are moving out. We'll see that second gateway, or third gateway rather, being produced, and suddenly both of our Protoss players are on 3 gateways. So this is looking to be a massive Dragoon versus Dragoon timing, which is fairly common in the matchup when there's no ramp leading to the main. Ooh, Citadel dropping down for LCYDH. I think that would indicate we're likely going to see Dark Templar being produced here from LCY. Jumper definitely has the probe lead. Ooh, Citadel for both players, actually. So both players feeling like maybe Templar tech is the way to go here. Usually following the Citadel and then the Templar Archives will see a Forge, so I'd expect both of our players to be building up that Dragoon count slightly until we, get that Archives underway, and then they'll likely Forge expand after that. Jumper has a idle Zealot and Probe at the bottom left of his main that he hopefully figures out here soon. Templar Archives on the way for LCYDH, as well as a Forge. And no Forge yet for Jumper, but we'll likely see one soon. Archives is on the way though. So each of these players looking to put down some Dark Templar here shortly. Dark Templar are very strong in this matchup, just given it takes so much for Protoss to be able to get Observer Tech up to scout. And actually, yeah, LCYDH not even trying to expand with his cannons, looks content with just building a cannon in the main. So I kind of like Jumper's position here. I think this is the way to go. Even if LCYDH survives, he will not be securing a natural, whereas Jumper's position allows him to inevitably get up by a base. Jumper also still retaining that probe count advantage here. First, Dark Templar moving out for LCYDH, so his tech was up slightly earlier, but I believe we'll have 3 Dark Templar out for Jumper. No, what are you doing? Why are you moving out? These 2 cannons might not be able to block this DT without any units around, and the DT could end up getting into the main of Jumper. Oh my gosh! Big sigh of relief. But DT's falling on both sides. Jumper might be overstepping his bounds here, though. He does have more Dragoon Zealot, but with the 2 DTs here, there's just no vision of these units. He's going to be forced to retreat. And it looks like LCYDH just starting to come back into this game. He is able to secure a natural here. Ooh, nice hidden DT there from Jumper. And a couple more cannons being thrown down at the natural. Storm Tech being researched from Jumper. And he is forced to retreat to this wall off. Big ground force moving in here from LCYDH, trying to slip in with these DTs, unable to do so. Jumper's DT moving to the natural mineral line. Oh no! DT going to slip into the main. And suddenly there's no scouting tech here. There's nothing. Jumper going to be forced to retreat with all of these probes to his natural. Really unfortunate there. This is going to be big damage. Robo going down at the natural here for Jumper. And yeah, it looks as if LCYDH is able to secure his own natural at this point. I mean, maybe with the storm tech, maybe he can storm it and it'll die. Seems like a good possibility to me. Will it die? Yes! Okay, Jumper has resecured his main. Good on him having the wherewithal to do that. But we do have LCYDH taking a 1-2 probe count lead here. So it's still going to be quite a ways before Jumper able to pull himself back into this one. Needs to transfer a few more probes from natural back to the main. Looks like LCYDH just content with you know, the amount of Dragoons he has here. And actually, ooh, Dark Archon morph. I really like to see that. Dark Archon's great in this matchup, not only for feedback against High Templar and other Dark Archons, but they actually are used to mind control shuttles and, you know, even carriers in ultra late game PvP. So maybe not a bad idea to get this tech here early on. Cannon being placed in the main for Jumper. I like the safety cannon. No upgrade for Jumper, but LCYDH is starting that +1 safety cannon as well in the main for LCYDH. Just perfectly timed for each of these players. They are dead even at 68 supply each of 82. Observer moving across the map here for LCYDH. We'll see this exposed natural. I wonder if maybe that's something he could take advantage of. Maybe with his own storm drop or something like that. Ooh, but it looks like Observer moving in will scout Jumper's loaded shuttle moving towards the main. Why would Jumper take that? I'm a little confused by that one. Of all the bases to take, that's the one that'll get scouted for sure, I feel like. 4 Dragoons moving to the south side of the map, looking to get underneath this shuttle of Jumper. And yeah, it looks like he's gonna do it. This could be a big snipe. And yes, 2 Templar and a Zealot will fall along with that shuttle, giving LCYDH the lead he needs. Double gas base not only taken, but the gases have also been taken top right. Kind of an odd scout pattern there from LCYDH, but it will end up paying off for him. Yeah, it looks like LCYDH just going to move up towards that top right position and start taking out this hidden nexus of Jumper. Pretty much just free resources at this point. Dragoon range being researched here for Jumper now, and a couple more gateways being added on. Nexus and both assimilators will fall. Second Forge is spinning in the main of LCYDH. That should definitely give him a significant upgrade advantage the later this game goes. Yeah, this is a quite a massive lead here from LCYDH now, up by about 35 supply. We still have stacked Templars with full energy for Jumper, and actually a Dark Archon of his own being added to the mix. LCYDH taking his own third at that top right double gas location. So once that's online, you know, I keep harping on it, but It's a big thing on this map, especially PvP. If you're able to secure 2 more gases, that's just countless Archons, countless Templar that can be made, as well as, you know, it is a sizable mineral base too. So obviously the minerals are important, but in this matchup, a lot of the times whoever has the more Archons usually comes out on top. So we'll have to see if that ends up kicking in for him or not. We do have legs almost complete here for Jumper, giving him that zealot speed that he'll need for these engagements. Meanwhile, it looks like LCYDH looking happy to move out across the map here. Jumper going to end up taking the mineral only outside his natural. Full energy Dark Archon moving in. I mean, if Jumper hits the feedback first, he could end up eliminating the other Dark Archon or coming close. Ooh, yeah, there's no way he's holding this mineral only. Cancel is forced, and here we go, big engagement. Oh, Jumper does hit the first feedback, eliminating that Dark Archon completely, and very nice storms from Jumper. It's just not enough units, it looks like. 2 more Templar moving in here for Jumper. Yeah, he's not attacking with anything. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, it looks like the units for LCYDH will barely fall, but still the engagement did go in favor of LCYDH. And with that third base of LCYDH, every second this game goes on, he's slowly getting further and further ahead. He's also got, you know, the upgrade advantage with that double forge earlier. So we see him at 1-1 upgrades so far. You know, +2 looks like weapons almost complete. +2 armor has started. And Jumper is 1-0 with +2 on the way. Looks like LCYDH going to take the other main as well as a 4th base. And Jumper moving out, trying to secure that mineral only once again outside his natural. Should be distance mining here shortly with those probes in his main. So I don't blame him, but LCYDH, he's scouted everything, right? He knows there's no third base yet for Jumper, whereas he has his own third base and it's a double gas base. So there's no reason for him really to attack. Just the longer the game goes, the further and further ahead he'll be. But it looks like he will be moving in here, trying to poke in for another engagement. So we'll see how this one goes. Ooh, the one thing I'll say is Jumper's storms have been on point this game. That is massive damage to this mainly zealot heavy force, LCYDH, but 4 Archons moving in as well. Going to end up doing some big damage here. And yeah, it's just so many units here from LCYDH, as well as that upgrade advantage. Jumper managing to hang on though, still staying alive. He does have a lot of Templar. One thing we haven't seen from LCYDH is any kind of storm. It's really just been heavy Archon, heavy Dragoon, heavy Zealot, and yeah, he's just continuing to morph Archons here. So seems to be the style he prefers to go for in this matchup. There's a probe transfer going down to his 4th. And yep, this will be scouted actually by Jumper, moving into the other main. Ooh, nice storm going down from Jumper, catches a couple Dragoons there. And I think this is kind of go time. If he's going to come back in this one, he's got to prevent some of this additional mining from LCYDH. Observer trailing in as well. We do have storms still for Jumper, and yeah, they're great once again. Archon being morphed. Dragoons moving in as well. We have that Dark Archon, but unfortunately nothing to feed back. And LCYDH just coming in with the imposing Dragoon and Archon numbers, and will end up taking game number 1. GG is called there from Jumper. So, wow, incredible early game. I think Jumper definitely had the better opener, given there's no ramp on the map for, you know, like basically 2 gate to really be stalled off or held. You know, I love the shield battery placement, trapping those Dragoons early, but LCYDH just kind of stuck in there, got a nice shuttle snipe, and really secured that double gas base, which just allowed for so many Archons. Like I was saying, that was kind of going to be a key pivotal point of that map. Anytime you're Protoss and you're able to secure a double gas base, you gotta just go for it. Still though, Jumper made him work for it, had some phenomenal storms, and tried to make it a pretty competitive series for game 1 there. With that though, since Jumper falls down 0-1, it will be Jumper's map selection here. Obviously LCYDH taking the quick lead, but Jumper can mount a comeback, and I'm sure he's got something planned for us here. Both these players veterans of the Gosu League level. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what map Jumper will end up picking here for game 2 against such a competitive Protoss player from China. And it will be Vermeer. Okay. Vermeer, pretty decent map. I think this would be just honestly a fine map for PvP. Kind of notable thing about this map is every single base has a gas base. There's no such thing as like a mineral only on this map. So once again, we'll expect to see a lot of like heavy Templar play, heavy Archon play the later the game goes. A lot of neutral area to fly shuttles around as well, and go for things like storm drops. But other than that, it's a map that's been around for a little while, and both these players should be fairly familiar with it. But anyways, it sounds like we are ready to get into it here. Game number 2 between LCYDH and Jumper. Let's get to it. And spawning at the top right, we have Jumper. And spawning at the bottom left, the Chinese Protoss player, we have LCYDH. Kind of interested to see what these guys will end up doing here. Vermeer is a much bigger map than it feels like almost any other map for some reason. I don't know why. And so that being paired with the fact that they are cross spawns here, I think this is going to be a much different game than what we just witnessed on Longinus. Obviously these players can't know this, but if a player opens 2 gate here and ends up being cross spawn, the likelihood of actually being able to get any damage done with those early zealots is near nothing. There's just so much distance to cover early game with, especially with slow zealots, that it makes it quite difficult to get any damage done. So we'll see a 10 gate going down in the main for each of our players here. I wouldn't expect to see a 2 gate here from either of these players, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And Vespian gas being taken in the main here for our Chinese Protoss, but actually it will be a 2 gate from Jumper. Unfortunately, this is cross map though, so it's going to be very difficult to get much damage done with this 2 gate, but we'll have to just wait and see, I guess. Both probes moving towards the top left location. They should scout each other here fairly quickly. And yeah, they do see both probes are moving in, and now suddenly they know exactly where the opponent's mains are. They are cross map. Core is down in the main for LCYDH, Zealot in production. And likely 2 Zealots being produced here from Jumper. gas being taken in the main fairly quickly. That means jumpers recognize that this is cross map and likely won't be able to get much damage done with these early zealots. And yes, actually just opting to hold position as first zealot on the ramp, prevent any scouting from LCYDH. Meanwhile, he will get a scout off in the Chinese Protoss player's main as well. So the best he could really come up with given the scenario. And both of our players on 16 probes. Gas advantage in LCYDH's favor with that earlier Vespian Geyser. We have Dragoon range on the way already. Jumper's core just about to complete. Only has produced that single zealot. I like this adjustment here from Jumper. It's a very intelligent play. Citadel down once again from LCYDH, so seems like this player does not believe in robo openers. He just wants to make some DTs, get them in the opponent's space, and look for the GG. 2 Dragoons in production here, 4 Jumper, another pylon down in the main. He's going to need a robo, if not at least a forge to try to deal with this DT tech of LCYDH. But obviously, Jumper has played countless PvPs. He has to know that this is an option, especially given the first game. But still, that is a quick Templar Archives. Templar Archives down at just over the 4-minute mark. Probe trying to sneak in here to the natural. We'll scout a couple Dragoons and a Zealot and no natural Nexus. So he's got to expect something to be up here. It's obviously not Expo play. It's not 3-gate Goon, or we'd be seeing more Dragoons. So it's something else. Templar Archives just about to complete here for LCYDH. Jumper with the Dragoon count lead. Looks like, is this going to be a robo from Jumper? It might be. And yes, robo on the ramp. But Dark Templar is going to be completing here momentarily. We're still a little ways away from getting that observatory up. If Jumper is going to hold, he's going to need to keep all of his units up his ramp and look to stall just by using his own unit's HP. LCYDH luring those units across the map with a probe, and first DT is out and running straight for Jumper's base. Ooh, DT running right by unnoticed from these Dragoons. A couple cannons going down at the natural here. Jumper does recognize he has the Dragoon count lead here, moving in, trying to remove some of these Dragoons and get on top of these cannons. He might force a cancel on these cannons, but actually DT coming out, doing some good damage to these Dragoons. Meanwhile, the first DT just about to run inside the main. Oh, no, it will not. No observatory on the way yet, though. Okay, DT is targeting some of these Dragoons. Meanwhile, Jumper's Dragoons running inside the main base, doing some pretty good damage here, being trailed by this DT of LCYDH, trying to get some damage done. 2 Dragoons do fall on that ramp. Cannons trying to be warped into the main mineral line. Jumper doing some decent damage with the Dragoons he has, but DT is in the mineral line, getting some significant damage done, and the cannon is finally up in the main mineral line, and this DT will be forced to retreat a little bit. Still, natural expansion is up for LCYDH, and meanwhile we just have the main for Jumper and a couple gateways, so if Jumper is going to win this one, he's got to start getting himself in a position to move out here soon. Observer just about to complete. The DT did retreat out of the main. Kind of a wise call there from YDH, recognizing the observatory is up, Robo's completed, and there's not really a whole lot of extra damage to be done. I would like to see the DT stay out for a counter attack, but it seems like he's fine with just moving it home to defend along with these cannons, and honestly that might be the right call. Yeah, only 2 probes on gas. Gas's count is quite low for Jumper. He's really got to get some significant damage done here, but I believe we're going to have Storm momentarily for LCYDH, and that should be a big power spike for holding this natural. Here we go, Observer moving in here. That Storm just about to complete. And it looks like Jumper moving in with these Dragoons here, trying to get some big snipes on these cannons. Has the Observer just in range to be able to pick off a couple of these Dark Templar. One goes down. Ooh, nice Storm though, but he storms his own DT. And there's no cannons remaining. Ooh, but a very nice Storm once again. Archon being morphed, but there are 2 Dragoons on the high ground. Jumper's just got to rally everything in here if he wants a chance of winning this one. Dragoons moving in, doing a little bit more damage, but very nice probes around here from LCYDH. Another Dragoon does fall. And Jumper stacking some resources here. Really needs to get a Nexus down at the natural to continue this one. There we go. Nexus is down. Probe count advantage goes to LCYDH with that natural. It is 32 to the 27. And because LCYDH has a natural, he's actually mining more efficiently. Because there's obviously more mineral patches to mine from, to choose from, as well as he has his second gas up and mining. So big advantage and big power spike here for LCYDH. 4 gateways up. Forge is spinning for LCYDH, so shortly you should have an upgrade advantage once that +1 completes. Jumper not quite having the resources he needs in order to really get that +1 going yet. It's really just because the natural is so much later than LCYDH's. Dragoon count only at 5, so Jumper with the Dragoon count lead for the moment. Natural expansion is just about up. He has taken his natural gas as well, so he will be able to begin mining that shortly. LCYDH looking to take a 3rd base here shortly as well, just kind of keeping that resource lead, that economic lead going. Ooh, I like the safety cannon in the main, a couple Dragoons being left in the main as well to deal with any potential drop harass that might hit. We have Robotech and 2 Reavers out for Jumper, so this looks to be some type of a 2-base robo timing that he's planning for. 4th gateway going to be added as well. Just the Templar tech from LCYDH, which is probably a good call, honestly. Storm is so strong in this matchup. 2 more gateways being added. And LCYDH has a 12 probe count lead, and it's starting to kind of show. He's slowly edging ahead in resources, in map control, in units. It's just going to continue carrying him further and further ahead the longer this game goes for now. Wow, even another gateway being added. This is very heavy gateway count here for LCYDH. It looks like LCYDH most likely going to be going for a timing here with this +1, I would guess. But actually, Jumper might be beating him to it here. We see the 2 Reavers are being loaded up. Dragoons streaming across the map. But yeah, once again, LCYDH will have that +1, which is a big power spike advantage in this matchup. Observer scouting quite a few units at this natural, sees the Templar, sees the photon cannons, and it looks like he's ready to move out and get into some type of a concave here. Jumper might be ready for him though. Reavers are being unloaded. First Reaver Scarabs do go off, hitting some of these Zealots, and actually LCYDH forced to retreat. Here we go, re-engagement. Storm's blanketing Jumper's force here, and Reaver's just not in position to be able to do damage quite yet. Ooh, nice Storm going down on both the Reavers before they can shoot as well. And a second Storm. One Reaver falling. Very good control here from both our players. Oh no. Shuttle is picked off there, and GG is typed out from Jumper. So LCYDH with a pretty incredible showing there. That was, you know, game one, super close. Game two, that DT in the beginning able to do some pretty significant damage, and it kind of just carried him forward through the rest of the game. So, you know, hats off to LCYDH. Very well played. He will be moving on to the Deciders match. Jumper with some incredible games as well. Unfortunately, going to be falling from that elimination match, and thus will not be moving on for the rest of this season's BSL, but likely we'll be seeing him again in BSL season 16. Oh, okay. Fourth player's advanced it to Ghost League. I did not realize that. So hats off to him. Well played. Looks like we can look forward to seeing more Jumper action in Ghost League this season. But yeah. So now for our final match of the night, it's going to be LCYDH versus XiaoShuai. This will be a PvZ. Pretty epic decider match. I really was happy to see XiaoShuai's play earlier on in some of these series. So LCYDH with that phenomenal series once again versus Mihu versus Jumper. Now I'm kind of excited to see what he can bring to the table in a whole new matchup here, PvZ. So this one should be quite exciting. We can go to the final match. Yeah, we can keep going. So I think we're gonna move on to the final match here. This is yet again going to be another best of 3 between LCYDH and XiaoShuai. PvZ, both these players hailing from China. I believe XiaoShuai is even a commentator in China, and LCYDH is more so a competitor. He competed in BSL15 season Ghost League. So yeah, we got to see some pretty incredible play here so far. Looking forward to this matchup between both these players. It's going to be quite an exciting one here. And it looks like our decider match will start off on Gladiator. Big 4-player map. This was old school favorite map. Was even in, I believe, WCG back in the day as well. So for some of these older generation players, they might even be familiar with it from that. Kind of key aspects about the map: the mains are a low ground main reaching to a high ground natural upper ramp. It kind of favors more aggressive play early on, things like 2 gates versus Zerg, or speedling timings, 2-hatch Hydra play. But as it moves on, this map in general just kind of tends to play out pretty standard. You have these 4 mineral-only bases in the center of the map that are big points of contention as well. Lots of little high ground ridges, which can be nice for setting up lurker lines and for Protoss to park their units on top of. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting game 1 here, just given the map, and sounds like we are ready to get into it, folks. So this is going to be LCYDH versus XiaoShuai. Game number 1, here we go. And spawning at the top left as blue Protoss, we have LCYDH. Spawning at the top right of Gladiator as the purple Zerg, we have XiaoShuai. So a big 4-player map. There's lots of little high ground ridges in the center, which is kind of the key, one of the key features of the map. The other being low ground main reaching to high ground natural can be a little difficult for Terran versus Protoss early game, but obviously we will not be watching that here. Pylon going down at the natural immediately for LCYDH. We don't see the probe scouting, or maybe we do. I don't know what we're seeing. This could be maybe a gateway opener, I would assume, just because he's keeping the probe around. Maybe like a 9-gate opener on this map, which could be quite strong, and yes, it is. Starting to scout towards the top right, so actually each of these players will be seeing the opponent's scout and know exactly where they're at from the start. Overpool opener out of XiaoShuai, very, very standard. I would give the slight edge in build orders to LCYDH. You usually really like to see an overpool opener, especially if you're doing some type of 9-gate pressure, but overpool is it's very possible to hold a 9-gate opener with overpool, but you end up forcing out a lot of Zerglings as Protoss with 9-gate, and obviously you know, the more Zerglings you're forcing out, the less drones there are. So looks like LCYDH getting pretty annoying here with this first pylon, going to block that natural, and also looking to block the third at the same time. I really love this play from LCYDH. First Zealot moving across the map, pylon is canceled at the natural, hatchery goes down, and yeah, we have a drone now running back. I wonder if maybe he'll end up trying to take a separate third or something, because this probe is obviously defending that third base. Might even take the mineral only, we'll have to wait and see. Zealot not moving across the map. I guess maybe he was a little afraid of this overpool opener. And still no third hatchery going down from XiaoShuai. This is a pretty quick gas in the main. I wonder if this could even be 2-hatch play. XiaoShuai trying to slip in with these Zerglings, causing a little bit of chaos at the Protoss natural, but ultimately, looks like I don't think he's going to be able to get in here. A little bit of damage being done to that gateway, and this is Nexus before Forge, so Protoss playing slightly risky here. Yes, XiaoShuai able to dart in with all 4 lings, and suddenly Protoss is in a little bit of trouble here. Gateway might fall to just these 5 lings. Yeah, only at 69 HP left. More Zerglings flooding across the map. And yes, this is speed. 100 gas being mined for lair as well. Probe being targeted down the main mineral line. There's no forge quite yet. Drone being blocked from that third base. So still no third base. Zerglings running straight into the main here. This could be devastating. Forge not quite done. Probe starting to get picked off in the main. Good control from both our players so far. Cannon going down the main even. Looks like that gateway will fall. And yeah, good surround from these Zerglings as well. Zerglings moving from the main to the natural, just redirecting this Zealot force. And XiaoShuai taking a very far third. This was kind of forced. Ooh, big surround on these Zealots from XiaoShuai, but nice probe reinforcement as well. Now keep in mind, there's no gateway. There will be no more Zealots until a gateway is produced. Zerglings just continuing to flood across the map here. The Zerglings coming in, flanking from the natural, looking to get some probe kills at the natural. Gateway is going to fall again. Second cannon being produced. Ooh, nice surround from these Lings, trying to get on top of these cannons. Oh, he is able to do so. And that was the last Zealot. So this could be enough. Wow, probes just falling in mass at that natural. Nexus will be killed, and yes, GG is called. Man, I'm kind of shocked. I felt like LCYDH did a great job preventing that third, harassing with, that probe early on. But XiaoShuai just decided, you know what, I'm going to go Ling speed, I'm going to just step on the gas and, really throw you off, and it ended up paying off. He just had incredible Ling control there early on. He was very patient with it, ended up picking off that gateway, preventing any more Zealots from being produced. And, sometimes that's what happens if you go Nexus before Forge. You gotta really, make that wall off as quickly as you can and trade as efficiently as possible if you're Protoss, or Speedlings are an easy way to end the game. So well played there by XiaoShuai. Ended up, making the most of a pretty difficult situation and ended up taking that game. Now it's kind of up to LCYDH to mount a comeback here. At least, he gets the map pick here versus XiaoShuai. It will be, PvZ, and there's plenty of decent maps to choose from in this matchup. So I wonder if he'd maybe go with something like Longinus or a Vermeer that we saw earlier. This could be a little interesting here. XiaoShuai though, man, he's got incredible control. And oh, it's actually going to be a 2-player map, Butter. I kind of like this choice for Protoss. There's kind of a much longer rush distance from natural to natural. You wouldn't expect any type of a Ling flood or something like that early on. So, but at the same time, early Zealot openers aren't really a possibility from Protoss as well. So we'll likely see something like a Forge Expand or a Nexus first, given the map. But it sounds like we are ready to get into it, folks. This is the elimination match. XiaoShuai versus LCYDH, game number 2. Here we go. And spawning at the top right as that blue Protoss once again, we have LCYDH. And spawning at the bottom right as the white Zerg, we have XiaoShuai. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Like I said, big distance from natural to natural on this map. It's almost deceiving how far apart the natural bases are. I would expect to see a Forge Expand here. I think it's very standard. Meanwhile, because this is a 2-player map and the potential of a Probe Scout early on here, is quite strong. Zerg tend to open either 9-pool or overpool. Usually overpool, just once again because of that distance. So I wouldn't expect to see a hatch first here. But if it is hatch first, Forge Expand is quite common, and cannon rushes are quite common. And actually, it looks like it will be a 11 hatchery or a 12 hatch. Yes, 12 hatch even, out of XiaoShuai. So this will be interesting. LCYDH not listening to me and going gate expand though. That's kind of unique, I gotta say. I don't see a whole lot of gate expands on this map, but we'll see. If he's maybe able to get something done. Ooh, I love this. The hidden probe faking the cannon rush, but XiaoShuai not even reacting to it. Okay, we see a single drone going to the natural here, scouting. He's gonna end up looking for that cannon rush, but actually no, he's just gonna attack the probe, doing some decent damage, burning off that shield here immediately. Very well done so far. Ooh, even chasing it with 2 drones. So I mean, very clearly XiaoShuai getting the better of these build orders here early on. There is a Zealot moving across the map, but like I've been saying, it's such a long rush distance. It's really difficult to get any kind of damage done with a 9-gate opener. Third hatchery even being placed before Zerglings. So XiaoShuai looking very confident here. Second Zealot also rallying across the map as well. 8 Zerglings in production. Zealot getting into the mineral line here, already doing a little bit of damage. Ooh, very close to picking off a drone, but not quite able to. So good rallying. Ooh, Zergling will fall, and actually that was a drone even, so one drone does go down for his efforts. Second Zealot at the natural, but there's just, I mean, there's nothing for him to do here, unfortunately. There's no way he's getting past these 8lings into the main. Looks like he's going to be forced to retreat and just get a little bit of scouting intel. You know, he's done, I mean, getting even the one drone it's all right. It's better than I expected it to go. Nice surround, though, here from XiaoShuai. Just trying to get on top of this Zealot as best he can. And yeah, Zealot won't even trade for a Ling there. So 2 Zealots for a single drone. Well, 2 Zealots in a probe even for a single drone. Pretty decent trade here for our Zerg. Third hatchery was started so quickly that it's already up. And yeah, Ling's moving around to that natural. There are 3 Zealots completed now, but this is a lot of Zerglings. Protoss going to have to be a little careful here. Yeah, we see good engagement so far from XiaoShuai. Nice surround on that Zealot, and that could be it, honestly. Yep, Zerglings trickling through that wall, getting a second surround even, getting on top of these Zealots, and they will maybe even force the cannon to be canceled here. Ah, man, this is just so much damage here from XiaoShuai. It's going to be quite difficult for Protoss to recover from here. Not getting too aggressive. He's already continuing to drone, but these 4 Lings have done their damage, and GG is called there from LCYDH. So that means XiaoShuai going to be moving out of this group in 2nd place after a quick series versus LCYDH. I mean, really, that he just showed like incredible understanding of the map, going for something like a 12 hatchery there versus a 9-gate, and even going that hatchery at the 3rd first before producing any Zerglings. So man, just making the most of it, utilizing that econ, and unfortunately LCYDH will fall, but he does take 3rd in the group and will continue to move on this season of BSL. So, you know, hats off to those 2 players, but once again, phenomenal control and pressure here out of XiaoShuai. He's going to end up, yeah, moving out 2nd behind Mihu. We got to see some incredible series today, as well as, you know, Mihu versus XiaoShuai in the winners match earlier. So we definitely are going to get to see more of these 3 players here. But yeah, Mihu, man, he was the story of the day, looking very strong. Not even dropping a single game. Had a close game. Had a really close game with LCYDH on Sylphin. You know, that was the one that maybe could have gone the other way. But still, incredible play. Mihu, man, he is a force to be reckoned with. Already looking primed to be a top competitor for this season of BSL as well. But yeah, that's gonna be it for Group D today. Group D finally played out, and it was a pretty, you know, strong series, I gotta say, between these players today so far. Really looking forward to seeing more of these guys playing in the future. Yeah, it was an exciting one. Thank y'all for tuning in. Before we sign off here, we want to give some thanks to everybody. Thank you so much to OptiMonk once again for sponsoring this series of BSL and making foreign BroodWar happen. BSL 15. So once again, yeah, thank you so much to OptiMonk for sponsoring this BSL season. funding this StarCraft, making the prize pool worth it for all of these incredible players from all around the world to get to compete. We'd also like to thank our Patreons. The Bombastic General level, we have Star Lover at $100 a month. At the Colonel level, for $50 a month, we have Anthony Chen, Martin Harzmar, Striker, and Zero Sum. At the Bombastic Major Plus level, we have at $30 a month, we have Robert Groot, Blizzardo 86, Cause, and Tupacalypse. And at the Major level, $20 a month, we have Nicholas Schuler, Christian Eddington, LML, Linger Pump, Niantic, and Quark. So thank you all so much for supporting BSL and supporting future events. Once again, we are looking for a sponsor for BSL Season 16. So if y'all are interested, please reach out to Zero, and we can kind of go from there. And also, just for those of you tuning into the chat, if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, want to support foreign BroodWar and support BSL in particular, please consider subscribing, and please consider donating to the Patreon. Even $2 goes a long way in this. We're really just trying to continue to keep the love for this game alive and continue foreign events for all of us StarCraft lovers to compete in. So yeah, want to just say thank y'all once again. Before I sign off, I'm Machine. It's always been a pleasure casting this. I hope you guys enjoy the casting. We'll have more casts again tomorrow and throughout the rest of this week. So if you guys are enjoying what you're watching, keep tuning in, keep watching, keep supporting, keep chatting. And we definitely hope to see you guys again next time. So thanks again, everyone. Thank you once again, Zero, for making this all happen. And hope to see you guys again tomorrow. So take it easy. Have a great day, everyone.